Hey, so I just finished up at the neighbors doing some electrical work, and here is a short video that they let me take. Some funny comments are at the end. Changing an outlet. When you're doing this kind of work, it is always best to turn off the power. The next best thing to do is make sure you're comfortable while doing it. I'm wearing knee pads. At this point, I'm using a number 1 Robertson to undo the outlet. I pull it out, I take a quick look, I check it out, make sure everything is the way it should be. Now I just start removing the neutral wires and I start removing the hot wires. You will see here as the power goes out when I cut this wire. And then I continue to bend them out of the way, and then I finish off with removing the neutral wires. Once they are removed, the next step will be to cut the wires or to remove the insulation. Here I'm attaching the ground, which is the very first thing I always attach and the last thing I always remove. Now I'll start measuring up with my pliers, which will be about 3/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch, depending on what I'm going to be adding the wires into on the outlet. If I'm adding the wires to the push pins, then it's only going to be about 1/2 inch, maybe 5/8. If I'm doing the screws on the sides of the outlet, I usually do about 3/4 or to an inch, and I use my pliers to curl it. It's always best to have the copper going with the screw toward the right, the same way you would tighten the screw. That way you don't push the copper out of the outlet, and it makes for a nice tighter finish, more secure and safer. Here you see me adding the neutral wires first, and then I will finish up with adding the hot wires. You'll notice as I am turning the pliers, I'm using the pliers to help cut with the X-Acto knife. So everything is measured up, and I never actually touch any metal. So I don't touch any copper, I don't touch any of the grounding metal. So therefore, I never get shocked because I don't actually complete the circuit. And here you'll see the power turn back on. And the reason why I chose not to turn the power off is because people in the house are using the power. So the home is being fully occupied as I'm working. I don't ever recommend to do this, but I did it so that my neighbors don't have to worry about me shutting down the house as I'm working, and only because I am confident enough to do so. You'll see here that I'm taking all the wires, pushing them out of the way, and slowly fitting it all back into the wall box. It's very important to always be careful when you're manipulating these wires, because sometimes the copper will break because it is a brittle, malleable metal. And if the metal is fatigued, they will snap and break off. Hence why you should always work with the power off. Alexi, the dog, came to see me just now and I was tickling her. She did not want anything to do with it. After all this is said and done, the wires are all put back into place. And you'll notice I always wrap my outlets with a bit of electrical tape. That's just a bit of extra security. Now the screws are all into the wall. Everything's in place. You cap it off with a wall electrical cover. And at the end of which, I always plug in my electrical tester, which you will see now. There we go. And here is what you want to see. Both those lights lit up. So today when I walked in with the tripod, I said, "Lloyd, can I make a movie in your bedroom?" And he's like, "Sure, Mike, come on in." And So I went to work. I saw the video, and then later on today, his wife comes home, and Deb comes in. And I said, Deb, I've done everything that I was asked to do, and don't mind the tripod in the bedroom. That's just my video recording equipment. And she starts laughing. I was like, what were you doing? And I'm like, oh, I was making a video in your bedroom. Do you want to see? And I showed her, obviously, the video you just saw. So I love cracking up with my neighbors. It's a good thing they know me. Because I couldn't get away with saying such things to a stranger. But I would probably try.